Today on the lift we have a 2010 Chrysler Town & Country, and the front end has a banging sound. And I had this up on the lift a couple weeks ago, and I checked for loose wheel bearings and tie rod ends, ball joints. Everything seemed tight, so we narrowed it down to what I believe is the shock struts are going bad, and maybe sway bar links. The sway bar links are real beat up, so we are going to be replacing both of them. We got the parts from A1 Auto Parts. It was like $200, $210 for all the parts. So the first thing I had to do was take the tire off, and since we were replacing the struts, I'm going to take, and the links, I'm going to take the link off at the bottom. I'm going to do one side at a time, but 18 millimeter on that, 19 millimeter on the nuts here. I'm going to go ahead and loosen that up and then take that off. And then the next step will be to loosen these. I'm going to mark them right along here so I can get them close to back to where they were. You have to have this, you have to have these realigned after. I don't have that capability in my garage, so I'll have to take it to get it aligned after these new struts are put on. But we're going to save ourselves some money just by simply doing this part ourselves. And alignment is typically 50 bucks where I go. And this is another nut that we'll have to take off here in a second. So I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. Okay, so I got the sway bar link off. I ended up, it was rusted. I ended up having to take a grinder and grind the end of the bolt off because it wouldn't move. But I took this off, which is a 10 millimeter, to disconnect the wheel speed sensor, ABS sensor. Now I'm going to work on these two bolts, which are 21 millimeter. I took a wire wheel and cleaned this up right here, and I also took a scribe and drug along the side of it so I can get the new strut close to where this one was. I did the same on this side. You can see it a little better. It's not going to be perfect, but it'll at least be close. So if it takes a couple days, it won't wear the tire to get the alignment. It won't take too much of the tire off. So work on these 21 millimeter. Okay, so these two nuts are off. They are splined in here, so it holds them in. They don't necessarily move on their own. The lower bolt here is a cam bolt, so if it spins, it will move the strut in and out. I'm going to tap them straight out. Like I said, I showed you I already had my marks, so that's the next step. I'm going to just tap right here on the end of the bolt. If it takes more than that, I will get a soft brass hammer to drive them out instead of a steel hammer. Okay, wasn't too bad. Okay, so we took the bolts out, and upon looking at them, it doesn't look like they are concentric, like they change. And it looks like over here, this is I don't know how they adjust, but the new struts, the bottom hole is egg shaped, so that will allow them to be adjusted. But I got this out, and basically when I do take the strut out, I will support this so it can't fall forward and it can't destroy any of this. But we're going to move to the top of the strut now. So I'm going to bring the lift down and start taking the windshield plastic off. Okay, so this is I believe it's threaded. It's got a Phillips bit on top. You pull this out. This is on the windshield valance. You pop that out, and that makes this loose, ready to come off. There's one on that side I already took off. Now I have to take the caps off of the caps and the nuts off of the windshield wipers and pop them off to be able to get this off of to access the top bolts. I'm gonna take the cap off. There's a little slot here you can get a screwdriver or a pick into. Like I'm using a pick to pop that off. 15 millimeter socket right there. Now there's the windshield's kind of dirty, so there is a very clear spot on where the windshield wiper sits. So whenever I go to put it back on, I will just match it back up with the spot that it sits in right now. You can see how dirty that little spot is. I'll just match it right back up. Just a flat thing on the impact. I didn't hit it hard enough that it would damage it. You see the nut goes right back on, no problem. No damage. I was prying here, prying on the back of it. I don't have a puller for this, so I had to, do the best I could with what I have. Okay, my dad suggested to put the nut back on and tap that with the tap the nut with the air hammer, and that worked real well. Popped right off. So now we could pull this whole windshield balance. Now we have access to the 3 bolts to remove the strut. 13 millimeter. Okay, so those are all open or off. Other than that one, it's easy to access. I'm gonna leave this sit right here, and I'm gonna lift the van back up. Pull my punch out. Now the strut is hanging free. Pull the struts out. Okay, I'm going to feed the strut up in and then place the bolt on one of the, or place the nut on one of the bolts. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and reinstall these bolts. Okay, I reinstalled the bracket that holds the ABS module, and now I will go ahead and reinstall a new sway bar. This afternoon. Okay, the sway bar link is 18 millimeter on both sides. Okay, I'm going to tighten these 3 up and then I'll be done, other than reinstalling the tire. And that completes the strut and the sway bar reinstallation. I hope this video helps you. If it does, please subscribe to my channel. That helps me out and I appreciate it. Thanks for watching.